We saw overnight speeches from Republicans and Democrats culminating, as I told you, in the House passing by one vote the Trump sort of Frankensteined together tax bill, just shy of 7 a.m. Eastern, 4 a.m. Pacific. One member of Congress who took to the floor in the late hours last night, I think this was right around, 1:50 a.m. Eastern, is Congresswoman Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. And she dropped what I think is maybe the most prophetic warning to Republicans for what they did, warning Republicans that when the country wakes up, there will be consequences. Now, I think she meant both literally when the country wakes up, because this was the middle of the night, and metaphorically, when the country realizes what Republicans are doing, there will be consequences. You know, I think I would put it a slightly different way, and it's if the country wakes up. Let's watch the video, and then I will explain. Her analysis is correct, but her prediction may be overestimating the country a little bit. Take a listen.
13.7 million Americans. 13.7 million Americans are the number of people in this country whose health care are going to be stripped in this bill. Now, Republicans are going to try to tell you every single distraction in the book from that essential number. I want people at home to understand that Medicaid and the federal matching funds for Medicaid can make up 30 to 40% of some of the state budgets that we have going on back in your home. Republicans have put this bill together, rushed it together in a matter of hours on the back of a napkin, shaking it, walking out of the White House, and brought it right here to this floor. They are defunding Planned Parenthood. They are ending tons of Medicaid coverage for 13.7 million Americans, including Affordable Care Act coverage as well. And if you want to get an abortion and have a silver plan on a health care plan that you paid for, you will also be affected by this legislation as well. Also, allowing suppressors on guns to be deregulated to some of the largest amounts that we have seen since the 1930s. This is just a Christmas bill. It's a Christmas tree.
Are you the gentlelady? She'll 30 seconds.
And so I want people to understand, for my Republican colleagues who are sure what is in and not in this bill, in this process that has been this rushed, when you wake up in the morning, you will realize that you voted to defund Planned Parenthood and to take away health care from 13.7 million Americans. And when this country wakes up in the morning, there will be consequences to pay for this. And I yield back.
AOC's point is simple and it's correct. This is a cruel bill. The process was a joke. The consequences will be real. It's not something we sign and it's merely theoretical. This is a very real, impactful bill if it were to pass the Senate in this form, which it won't. But the point is Republicans in the House have every intention of making it pass. But there's a deeper tragedy when she says when the country wakes up. I don't think the country is awake right now. I think the country is in a proverbial coma. And I'm not convinced the country is going to wake up anytime soon because let's be honest, Americans aren't totally unaware. Many of them have heard something about this bill, a debate, a headline, an excretion on X. But the problem is that a lot of Americans have stopped caring because the apathy is not born of ignorance. It's born of exhaustion and despondency and strategic disengagement, which on an individual level, I understand. But at scale is a real problem because the average American will ignore anything so long as they think it won't affect their bottom line. And the catch to the entire thing is that it's very much about to, because everything that's happening right now in sort of cumulative effect, when the financial fallout comes, when the bond yields explode and the markets crash and unemployment spikes and interest rates skyrocket, all things I hope don't happen, but all things I worry will happen, they're not going to have a choice but to care. Not because of ideology, but because they're suddenly going to be forced to develop a passion for civic engagement for their own self-preservation. They'll care because they won't be able to afford not to, because the economic chaos that is being sown here might make 2008 look like a hiccup. Now, I hope it doesn't happen, but you look at tariffs, spending bombs, deficit detonations, market instability, tax cuts for the rich, kicking people off food stamps, kicking people off Medicaid. This is really playing not only with the domestic economy, but the global economy. And Americans are understandably addicted to cheap debt, fragile supply chains, and cheap tchotchkes from China. It's going to be sleepwalking off of a cliff. So AOC is right. There are going to be consequences, not just for MAGA, but for everybody. The people cheering this bill in the House are going to be the first to scream when their constituents' Medicaid gets cut and suddenly their reelections are a question mark, if it happens that people have that awakening when the rent doubles or they can't afford insulin and they start calling their members of the House. Now, we're going to end up having to try to clean up this mess while Trump's donors offshore their profits and the base blames wokeness for 30% mortgage rates. I'm exaggerating. The only silver lining here, and this is accelerationist and it's not something I subscribe to really, but if there is any silver lining, it's that if it gets as bad as it might, maybe then Americans will care and they'll realize that the people screaming USA, USA while voting to gut the social safety net that affects you, it's not patriotic, it's pathetic, and they deserve to be voted out. So maybe if there's any good to find here, and this is hypothetical, this is speculative, it's that maybe everybody will understand that this authoritarianism isn't about tanks in the street, although Trump wants that for his birthday. It's about institutional decay and economic pain and media silence and a population that's become numbed such that they don't react until it's too late. I hope a lot of this doesn't come to pass, but it will really depend on the Senate, and we're going to talk about that after the break. After researching, writing, refining, The Echo Machine, my book, is finally out. This is not just a book about how American politics got so broken. It's also about what's happening right now and what we can still do to stop things from getting worse. Trump's been back in power. The results have been even more catastrophic than many feared, with targeting of political opponents and gutting democratic institutions, laying the groundwork to even further consolidate power. But the thing is that none of this is inevitable. The same forces that brought us here can be countered if we understand how they work and what to do about them. And that's what The Echo Machine is all about. Some say that without corporate media backing, books like this can't succeed. I think we can prove them wrong. You can get The Echo Machine right now at davidpakman.com/echo on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Audible, Kindle, or by calling any local bookstore and asking them to order it. This book is more important than ever. If you care about what happens next, and I do, check out The Echo Machine today at davidpakman.com/echo.